Right, hello guys, and yeah, welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to be doing something slightly different. It's been basically suggested that attaching the IHS back on is advisable because the motherboard, the way it's actually laid out, is actually designed to have them on, which means that the rigidity, I don't even know what word to use, but the rigidness of the board is basically matters to how these IHSs are put on. So when we attach them back to the heat sinks and then put them back on, it hasn't got the same rigidness as it should have. Now, I think that's one of the reasons. There are probably some more other technical reasons. I have seen Computer Booter put this back on with what I'm about to use, which is high temp RTV silicon gasket maker. So yeah, we're going to give that a go for the first time. So yeah, I'm not an expert. I'm going to first of all have to put liquid metal. That's the thermal compound of choice that I use. So yeah, we'll just get to it, I think. So first of all, we're just going to, I think you can see here and here, I'm going to have to apply it. Normally I do this when it's attached, but we're not going to be doing that today. So let's just. Okay, so. Just pull this plunger, otherwise it is just going to keep dispensing it. That is going to go on like so. Okay. So what we're going to need to do for this one is just, we're going to get some clear lacquer onto these. So I should have done that first. Getting all excited about this new technique, seeing how it's going to come out. I'm kind of jumping the gun a bit, but it doesn't matter. We can be careful when I apply this. Okay. So I'm just going to pause the video, let that dry, put some tape all around like we always do, and then we're going to whack that back on, and then we're going to pop this on as well. We don't need to mask this around. The sealant that we're going to use to reattach will be good enough. The chances of it slipping out this small hole here are minimal. It's got a long way to travel there, and I think the furthest it's travelled is just past the die, and that's having it on its side. So yeah, I'll see you in a moment when that's dry. Right, okay, so I've done what I normally do, which you see me do in the other videos. I've put on the liquid metal, put it onto these both plates, done all the protection that we need around there. So now we have got heatsink plaster, okay. And all we're going to do is just pop a little dab to the centre of these RAM chips. You really don't need much. Okay, they can go back on there. So it's FDER922. That's what's been recommended. I've been following some posts very closely. That's what they say is the nearest they can get to that. The next thing, wow, this looks a little bit more... We're going to be applying this. Now I guess we're going to be applying it to here. You're leaving the gap so the chip can breathe, and then popping it back on. So yeah, before we do that, we better take this, and as you can see, all residue we've cleaned off. So now when we put the new heatsink plaster on, that should now count to the 0.2 mil. And act as a little bit of a heat transfer as well. Don't think it needs it because of the fan profile we're going to be using, but it certainly will help if the console ever failed in terms of it was starting to get too hot. So yeah, the only time that could really happen is if the thermal compound starts to become ineffective. That can happen after heavy gameplay after about 3 years, or after normal light gameplay for about 5 years, I would say. So I can feel that already sticking on. So there is some play to it, so you can get it exactly right. So you can get it exactly where you want it. Yeah, that looks good. Then obviously we'll have to let it set, and yeah, then we'll put on the MX4. Now, so we've got the same scenario, got to pierce it open. Some lovely black goo. We've got our applicator here. Just going to pop that on. Does look like I need the applicator is sealed off. So let's just have a read of this. Surfaces must be clean. Pierce seal at the end of the metal tubing using the cap. Screw on the applicator nozzle. Cut to desired bead size. Well, I'm guessing I want it as small as possible. So we'll just take the first end off. Right, that's that. Okay, so you do want to get it all in one go, I guess. Let's have a go. I suppose it's got a long way to travel down the nozzle. Yeah, you can see that, good. must be pretty thick. Okay, let's just see if I can squeeze a bit of it onto the cardboard first. I don't want to make a mess of the chip. It really doesn't want to come out of this small bead size. Hang on, let's just make sure we've pierced it properly here. Oh yeah. Okay. It is coming out. I'd like to say this is all elegant, but it isn't. It is. Oh, don't slip. Right. Okay. With the cotton wool ball, I was just able to scoop that little bit off. It went astray. Right, okay. It's definitely not going to be easy. Just put this down like so. My hands are clean. Let's have a good look at this chip. I'm going to try, I'll put it on because it has come off around the sides a little bit. So what I'm going to try and do is clean the chip up, a bit of IPA and a cotton wool bud. I think that's good enough. I'm guessing we don't want to overthink it too much. I guess the more you apply it, the easier it's going to become. It's black goo, so as you can imagine, you don't want to make a mess of this. It really isn't going to be great. So I'll definitely make sure that the whole edge of the chip doesn't have this stuff on it. Right. Oh. you almost have to get it right first time, because as you can see I tried to move it and yeah, that didn't work out very well for me. For a first time, I think they're pretty good there. I'm just going to put a bit of pressure onto it. And that's pretty good. Right, pause the video. We'll see you in the next part when this is all set. See you soon. Right, okay, so we're at the point where we've let the sealant set and it's rock solid. We've made sure that we've got the gap, so you probably can't see it now, but we'll try just by removing these. No, I can't show you. I think you can just see it there. So you can see yeah. So I think you can just see it where the chip, where there's a bit of black on each side but not in the middle, and that's important because we don't want the chip just basically creating so much pressure. I'm guessing that's what would happen if you didn't leave that gap. No, it's so thin that you could just about get a very fine blade in there, but that's enough. That's enough for it to breathe, and yeah, so that's all good. So the thermal plaster's gone off here, and the silicone. And let's just remind ourselves what they are. So this is what we have used and what is recommended on PXX Place for the CPU. And then yeah, you just need this. This will last a long time. It's only a small tube, but that will last a long time. Comes out very wet. You need very little of it, and it dries like plaster basically. So that should sort out the spacing issues that we have here. What I've also done is I have created what we call a foil mod, or what I call a foil mod on here. And the idea is that the NEC tokens, which are a point of failure on these later fats, the heat will distribute from the foil faster onto the pads. Now, I have done this on a couple to experiment, and it's all worked out very well. Let me just close my window. And yeah, run the tests, everything checks out nicely, had no issues with the tokens, so that's good. Then we put the pads on top, obviously, like so. Now this console definitely was overheating, the CPU getting to 85 degrees. Somebody has been in this console before, so we have run a syscon dump, found no serious errors. So I think he just had an overheating console. We've got 1001s, 1002s. So yeah, that's probably, or it looks like that's the only issues that were there. So I proceeded with the refurbishment. Right, I've got a new pad here as well, so let's just remove the film from there. Don't forget to do that if you're adding new pads. Yeah, this has all been cleaned now. So the usual refurbishment has been done, except we have now fixed the CPU and the GPU, which is recommended. They're still saying it's not ideal. It's close to the original fixing, but not exact, if that makes sense. So it's about as close as we're going to get. What I want to work out is it better than just simply having them attached to the heatsink? So we'll run some tests and see if we get anything substantially better than what we would get normally from a refurbishment like this. It may just be that we get the same results and it might last longer, who knows, but I will continue to test this method. It's a lot of extra work. What I would say is on the CPU here, you do need sealant remover to remove all the sealant, and you do need a plastic scraping tool, and it has to be a safe plastic scraping tool. You don't use metal, don't risk scratching the CPU, it is just not worth it. The NEC token foil mod, it is literally just pieces of foil adhesive like this, cut to size, and then stuck onto the NEC tokens. Plastic tool, you're going to need something like this to scrape it away once the sealant remover has worked its magic. Sealant remover, that's the sort of thing you want. This is no nonsense sealant remover. This will last probably for well over 100 consoles. You don't need much of it, and there's plenty in there. There's 100ml there, and you're just using a very small amount, dabbing it onto the sealant to loosen it so you can scrape it off. The other thing is on the RSX, you do need every bit of that original plasticon on both sides. So when you're applying the new stuff, you're not creating spacing issues that shouldn't be there. You're trying to recreate exactly as it was from factory, and if it's slightly more raised than it should be, that's not going to work for you. It means that the liquid metal definitely won't make contact underneath, and that's going to be an issue. Let's not forget we put liquid metal on here, and it's not a paste, so it is fluid like liquid obviously, and yeah, it needs to be perfect, otherwise it's just not going to work. Right, well, I'm going to pause the video now. We're going to flip this into the case and we're going to give it a test, so I'll see you shortly. Right, okay, so we've got everything set up here, got it focused on that, so let's give this a turn on. Oh, I haven't got a hard drive in there. Okay. Oh, just turn it off. Pop the hard drive in. Give it another go. Okay. I'm going to first of all put it onto a fan speed that I think would be fine, which I think is 36 on this machine. Just to remind ourselves on the CPU, RSX 180 days, 345, proper shutdown, so but we know that this RSX chip is not affected by the bump gate. Right, okay, so let's just go into setup again, and let's give this a manual cool down. I do this to check for green light of death. If you ram this right up, also checks for token issues as well. If it can withstand 80% fan speed, keeping the console very cool, you're probably good. selected. That was now stepped down gradually, which is fine. And that's what we want to know. We'll whack it onto The Last of Us. And let's see if we've got any recording issues. So it's going to take about 5 minutes for this to load, so I'll just pause the video and I'll see you in the game.
Labor, huh?
You're still doing that. It's late.
Quick, what time is it?
It's way past your bedtime.
But it's still today.
Honey, please know right now, I do not have the energy for this.
Here,
What's this?
your birthday?
So the issue here
Kept complaining about broken
is that I can't remap it. So whereas before it was attached to the heatsink, I could then remap it. The only other way to do that would be to attach it to the heatsink, map it, then attach it to the actual unit.
Oh, hi.
Where did you get the money for this?
Drugs.
So the CPU is a bit high,
Oh, good. You started
but it's
off
nowhere
well.
near as high as it would have been
Yeah, you
when we
would.
put this on 35% fan speed before. It ramps it all the way up to 55, 60% fan speed to keep it under 68 degrees. Now we've got max 10% at 65, 35% fan speed. This is not even in gameplay, so we'll have to see what happens with the CPU at this point. Mind you, the CPU doesn't normally increase too much, it's the RSX that will. But with the RSX falling asleep at 47 degrees, that's nice. Let's have a look at these temps now.
Hello?
Sarah, honey, I need to get your daddy on the phone.
Uncle Tommy, what time is it?
I need to talk to your dad now. There's some-
Uncle Tommy? Hello? What was that all about? Oh, dang it. I forgot to give this to him. Dad? Daddy? What was that? There's his phone. Eight missed calls. Where the hell are you? Call me on my way. There you are.
Sarah, are you okay?
Yeah?
Does anyone come in here?
No, who would come in here?
Don't go near the doors. Just stand back there.
Dad, you're kind of freaking me out. What's going on?
Listen, Cooper, somebody ride with them. I think they're sick.
I'm kind of sick.
Jesus. Jimmy!
Dad?
Honey, come here. Come here. Jimmy! Jimmy, stay back! Jimmy, I am warning you. Don't!
You shot him.
Sarah,
I saw him this morning.
Jimmy, There's something bad going on. You've got to get it. You understand me?
Yeah.
Tommy, come on.
So 26 degrees in this room. It's not that.
You
It's
have any
warm.
idea what's going on
I'm
out there?
sweating, but it's not
Some
that warm.
lotion.
Normally we'd be running it as a 20-degree room.
Let's just
But
get
it's
it.
6 degrees above that. It will make a difference to the temperatures.
Just please go. Some sort of parasite or something. You gonna tell me what happened? Later. Hey, sir. How you holding up, buddy?
I'm fine. Can we hear us on the radio?
Sure thing.
Thanks.
No cell phone. No radio. Yeah, we're doing great. Your newsman wouldn't shut up. He said where to go? He said, Army's put up roadblocks on the highway. No getting into Travis County. We need to get the hell out. Take 71. That's right.
Did they say how many are dead?
Probably a lot. Found this one family all mangled inside their
Tommy.
house. Right. I'm sorry. Christ, how did this happen? They got no clue. But we ain't the only town. First they're saying it's just the south. On the east coast, west coast. Holy hell. That's Lewis's farm. I hope that son bitch made it out. I'm sure he did.
Were we sick?
No, of course not.
How do you know?
They said it's just people in the city. We're good.
Didn't Jimmy work in the city?
That's right, he did.
So we've looked at the Syscon log. Only 1001s.
See what they need? Who do you think you're doing?
I
Keep
don't think
driving. I got a kid, Joe.
all shown in
Wait a minute,
2006
Hey, keep driving.
stop!
at various different times as well. So to me that looks genuine.
Someone else will come along.
Should have helped.
I have set this to keep it under 65 degrees. The CPU just creeped up there, so the fan went up 1%.
This is bad. Everyone and their mother had the same damn idea.
We could just backtrack. What the fuck, man? Let's go! Tommy!
Holy shit! What the fuck just happened? What the fuck just happened? Come on, people, move.
What are they running from?
Get us out of here. I'm trying.
Oh no.
You can't stop here, Tom.
I can't fucking drive through them, Joe! Back up there!
They're behind me, too!
There! Hold on! Go!
Daddy? Hey. Hey.
Get back. Get back.
There's another one!
Dad?
Come here, baby. Come here, come here. Hand. What is it?
My leg hurts.
How bad?
You're gonna need to run.
Keep us safe. Hold it. Now hold on tight.
Daddy, I'm scared.
Joe, watch out! Your eyes closed, buddy.
Oh my.
Keep running!
Some people are on fire.
Don't look, Sarah.
looking at me, baby. Over there. We're gonna get out of this. I promise. Get back! There's too many of them! This way! Through the alley! Go! God damn it. We're almost there. We're almost there, baby. Back up through the fence! Keep going! Find your way out of here! Come on! Go! Get to the highway! Go! You got Sarah! I cannot run him! I can meet you there! Hurry!
Daddy, we can't leave him.
He's gonna be fine. We're almost there.
Well, we did go up to 40% fan speed to keep it under 65 degrees.
We need help. Stop!
To be honest,
Take her legs from
that's not that high for this machine.
Not sick. Got a couple civilians on the outer perimeter. Be advised.
Daddy, what about Uncle Tom?
You just take him back around, okay?
Sir, there's a little girl. Look.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we've just been through hell. We just need. Please don't. Oh no. Sarah. Move your hands, baby. I know, baby, I know. Sammy, I know this one. You're gonna be okay, baby. Stay with me. I'm gonna pick you up. I know, baby. Come on, baby.
Right, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create just a little bit of pressure behind the plate of the RSX. And we're going to add one more pad onto the CPU side, underneath where the motherboard is in the indentation. I don't think it's going to make any difference, but we'll have a look. See you shortly. Okay, well, quite surprisingly, it's made a difference. So,
Let's go.
Sunday at work, huh?
He's still doing that. It's late.
Cord, what time is it?
It's way past your bedtime.
But it's still today.
yeah, the CPU and the RSX would be slightly higher. I mean, the CPU definitely would be in the mid-50s.
Your birthday?
So yeah, we basically put a pad on top of the two small pads, one this size, to push down pretty much on the entire die area
Playing in the back, broken
of
off.
the CPU.
So,
So instead of just a small area in the indentation, we've got that on top of it, so that's now pushing down on the entire die. I think maybe the sealant that we put on there,
I think it's stuck.
when I put it on, maybe I didn't push it down hard enough.
oh, ha.
That could be my fault. I was mindful not to push it down too hard, if that makes sense.
I sell hardcore drills.
But it looked good after I've done it. It's a very, you can see the black sealant underneath there. It's a very thin amount. But yeah, it could have been that. Could have applied too much. Definitely some experimentation. But it's recoverable with just that added, just throwing that little bit of pressure onto the motherboard so it makes contact with the heatsink. And then obviously under the clamp on the top side of the RSX, I've just applied a thermal pad of the same size. I'll put it in the diamond shape so it looks like the same as the die. And now that's pushing down on that area as well. I mean, we're only talking a couple of mil pressure tops. It's not a massive amount. It does make a bit of a difference.
Honey, I need to get your daddy on the phone.
Uncle Tommy, what time is it?
I need to talk to your dad now. There's something.
Also, the way the fan, the architecture of this PS3 is different.
Hello?
You've got the fan on the side. It's cooling the heat sinks from the side, rather than what you'd normally have is the heat sink on top of the fan on the RSX. And the CPU is slightly to the side of that.
Dad?
So now the RSX is getting no better cooling than the CPU.
Daddy?
But yeah, I mean, it's made a massive difference, especially to the CPU, just adding that little bit more pressure. So they are silicon pads, so even though they're 2 mil, you squish them down, they lose a mil. They go down to half. So probably in total now we've got 3 mil of pressure on the CPU, and probably 1 mil of pressure on the RSX tops.
Are you okay?
Yeah?
By the time it's transferred and squished out, it's probably less
You
than
want to come
that.
in here?
No, come in here.
Don't go near the doors. Just stand back there.
Dad, you're kind of freaking me out. What's going on?
It's the Coopers. Somebody ride with them. I think they're sick.
I'm kind of sick.
Let's not forget, with the original silicone, you'd still need to do this, so
Jimmy.
maybe what I've done is as good as the original. It's just more improvement on the original.
You shot him.
Sarah,
I saw him this morning.
there is something bad going on. You've got to get over here. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
Tell me, come on. You have any idea what's going on out there? I got some motion. Holy shit. You got blood all over you. Hey, man, let's just get out of here. They're saying half the people in Sydney lost their minds. Can we just please go? Some sort of parasite or something. You gonna tell me what happened? Later. Hey, Sarah. How you holding up, honey?
I'm fine. Can we hear us on the radio?
Yeah, sure thing.
Thanks.
Cell phone, no radio. Yeah, we're doing great. Your newsman wouldn't shut up. They said where to go. They said, always put up roadblocks on the highway. No getting into Travis County.
Get the hell out. Take 71.
70. That's right.
Yeah.
Did they say how many are dead?
Probably a lot. Found this one
So I'll pause the video and I'll see you at the end of the chapter and we'll see what the temperatures are. We're actually just coming towards the end of the chapter now, and what we can see is the RSX. It's a little bit, it's about the same, maybe slightly cooler, but the CPU is not going above 55. Don't forget that CPU was getting to, 65. So, yeah. Even if we can just keep it to 60, which it looks like it's going to easily make to nearly the end of the chapter, it's a big improvement just by adding that little bit of extra pressure. That's partly because you've got liquid metal as well. It is liquid, like I say, so it's not as thick as a paste. It does need to make proper contact.
It's gonna be fine.
It certainly looks like it is now.
We're almost there.
And yeah. We do need to still keep this console cool, as I was saying. You can still get a problem with the ball grid array, so you can get a BGA issue even though the chip isn't going to die. You may need a reball anyway, and that's expensive. That's £100 right there. So we don't want that happening.
It's okay, baby. We're safe. We're safe. Hey, we need help. Stop! It's my dog. I think her leg's broken. Stop right there! Not sick.
Got a couple of civilians.
Yeah, okay.
Please advise.
What about Uncle Tom?
And now the console's cooling down quite nicely.
Sir, there's a little girl. Look. Yes, sir.
We've just been through hell. We just need... Please don't. Oh no. Sarah. Move your hands, baby. I know, baby, I know. Listen to me, I know this will be okay, baby. Stay with me. I want to pick you up. I know, baby. I know. Come on, baby, please. I know, baby. I know. Sarah. Danny. Don't do this. Don't do this to me. Come on.
As you can see, CPU is cooled down 53, so RSX down to 51. I'd like to see it go below the 50, so we'll just keep this running. It's very warm in this room, as it may not, but it's still a good result for the
The
test.
number of confirmed deaths has passed 200. The governor has called a state of emergency.
Hundreds and hundreds of bodies lining the streets.
Panic spread worldwide after a leaked report from the World Health Organization showed that the latest vaccination tests have failed.
With the bureaucrats out of power, we can finally take the necessary steps.
Los Angeles is now the latest city to be placed under martial law. All residents are required to report to their designated quarters. Riots have continued for a third consecutive day, and winter rations are at an all-time low.
A group calling themselves the Fireflies have claimed responsibility for both attacks.
Their public charter calls for the return of all branches of government.
Demonstrations broke out following the execution of 6 more alleged fireflies.
You can still rise with us. Remember when you're lost in the darkness? Look for the light. Believe in the fireflies.
Yeah, so there you go. So you've got the RSX that's cooled right down below the 50-degree mark. The CPU will eventually get there as well. It's gone down to 51, so yeah. So overall, with the gasket sealant and the thermal plaster,
I'm coming.
we're getting good results. It's just that when you come to then do the rework on it in 3 or 4 years' time to do refurbishment, it's going to need to be delivered again. I've got a feeling though the gasket's going to be a little bit easier to get into than the original sealant was. So yeah, shouldn't be too much of an issue. Right, thanks for watching. Cheers, bye.
Some interesting news.